to the full council meeting for Barnoldswick Town Council. First item on the agenda, apologies for absence.
Emma West.
Item number 2, declarations of interest. To disclose any pecuniary interests from anybody. Do we have any? No? Excellent. Item number 3 is an open forum to receive for a maximum of 15 minutes questions from members of the public on issues which do not appear on the agenda. Have we got anything? No? Excellent. Item number 4. Minutes of the last meeting. We can approve and accept the meeting minutes.
Move on. Second then.
Continue. Item number 5, finance. Confirm the approval of payments made by the town clerk to the council since the last meeting. Of the council and delegate consent for payments to be made prior to the next meeting of the council.
I know it's small. I do try to make it bigger.
So we're happy. Oh, sorry, Callum.
I'll approve the payments and delegate consent for the payments prior to the next meeting.
Thank you very much. Have we got a second for that? John, thank you. Item number 6, Football Club lease to confirm the 2 signatories who will sign on behalf of the Town Council.
So this is something that the solicitors are asking us for. They weren't happy with the fact that we just nominated 2 signatories. They want it in writing and a resolution sent in to them to say that we confirm that these 2 are okay to sign the paperwork that you approved on years ago.
That's a good agenda.
Well, we need to know.
Yeah, you need to confirm that Mick Strickland and David Whitman are okay to sign the lease on behalf of the Town Council. Unanimous? Perfect. Thank you. I can send her an email now.
Can we do that quick? Item number 7 is the location of the micro-forest. To discuss and confirm the location for planting the new micro-forest. Chris?
Thank you, Chairman. We already had agreed on principle design, which is off Greenfield, just off the new allotment site. We agreed on principle last time, so this is more or less a rubber stamp procedure to say that we are now practically in favour. And at the same time, I'm happy to announce that I met up with Ian Wright of Irish County Council this afternoon, and the application for the grant has now gone in. We might be expecting to hear, he is optimistic, and we might be expecting to hear within a couple or a few weeks.
So the applications come in, as in we've got the details, so we've just gone in. So just wait for a decision on the application.
Does everybody know where this site is?
Well, I was going to say. So, Chair, the suggested location is in the triangle of land between the access track that is parallel to Greenfield Lane and the footpath that goes diagonally across from Greenfield Lane towards Westwood Barn, and there's a fence line above the car park areas which divides the field, and it's between the footpath, that fence, and the access track that was originally built for United Utilities.
So, are you after a vote from the council tonight, Chris, or?
Yes, as we're formalising it, may I propose?
Yeah, sure. Excellent. All
Unanimous?
those in favour? Thank you. Item number 8. Proposed plans to locate an EE tower off Grimfield Lane. Prior to approval notification, telecoms to install a 20-metre high lattice tower supporting 3 antennas, 2 transmission dishes, ground-based equipment and ancillary cabinets. We consider the plans and comment.
Do you want to put some plans down? You can have one for yourself and then you can I'm just going to have to get a new pen, my pen's running out.
That's the triangle line that was policy.
Councillor David Wade.
Thank you, Chairman. Bit of background to this in that the whichever operator it is, I can't remember. EE, I think they currently operate off the fire station tower, and because the fire station tower is needing some work, they have to remove the masts. They have got consent, planning consent, for the use of the end of the Raynor Road car park. But when Pendle Council considered their request to use the car park, Pendle Council said, could they look at alternative locations? And the planning application we've got in front of us is a consequence of that request. If you look at the planning portal and the different documents there is there, you can see that they actually looked at quite a number of alternative locations around the town, and they've discounted them for one reason or another. Either the coverage wasn't good enough, or there were reasons why it wasn't appropriate. So, for instance, one I remember is that they looked at putting it next to the War Memorial on Wellhouse Road, and they thought that that would be insensitive given the War Memorial. But they do this quite a long number, and they give an explanation as to why not. I'm not sure if Joe's included any of that in this.
No, it's just the actual plan.
So this application is made as an alternative to the one that it was refused by Pendle Council on planning grounds, but they got approval on appeal. So they can go ahead with that one. And the reason why Pendle turned it down, the planning reasons, was the impact on the conservation area. Its proximity to quite a lot of houses in that area, but also the reason why they were asked to find an alternative location was Pendle Council didn't want to sterilise the car park, and for the councillors who've been on the town council for a while, you'll recall that we actually put the Raynor Road car park forward a site for a potential health centre. So it would sterilise its use for alternative purposes. So they've come down here. Now, I mean, this isn't, I don't think you'd ever find a perfect location, but, I mean, as far as the town council is concerned, I think we should comment with the issues that we think are relevant, whether we come to a view as, you know, sort of supporting or opposing, I wouldn't go as far as that. But if I could just list a few things that I think should be taken into consideration. First of all is the design. So the design I set out is like a mast with a structure on top of it and the monopoles put on that as well.
Picture on the last page.
Now there are,
Make them look like trees.
yeah, you can make them look like trees. So my first suggestion is that we comment that the style of the mast could be made to look more, well, if I say natural, it's the best word, but you get the drift. It would be less in the face than the design that's proposed. I think the second thing is that it is close to the open countryside, so you know it's in a more of a rural than an urban setting. Although to counter that, it is slightly next to sewage work, so you know it's not as though it's a pristine environment that we're putting it into. I think the further point is that there is a Grade 2 listed building which is West Close Farm, and that's directly in the line of sight. So, you know, if you look down to the farm, the mast would be there. You look from the mast, as I have done, down towards the farm, you know, there's nothing in between the two. So, whether they'd consider that to be in the setting of the listed building, I'm not right sure, but, you know, it's a factor that should be taken into consideration. Lastly, I mean, it is close to the properties on Greenfield Lane, so there's Wingate and Bastwick and Glenronda that are quite close. So my proposal would be, Chair, that we comment to Pendle Council with these points and say, you know, please take these into consideration when coming to a conclusion. There may be other issues that people want to pick up on. I mean, given a further item on the agenda tonight, obviously we, as town council, intend developing that land for allotments, so we could say, you know, the town council would prefer to develop this land for allotments. We'll be talking about that further. Whether that will carry any planning weight, I very much doubt. So, my proposal is that we comment about making it look like a tree, the open countryside, the proximity to the grade of two listed building, the fact that it is intended to be a lot of but it doesn't have any designation as a lot of
No?
I think I'd rather see it on the edge of town than in town. Some houses, but in the town again, you know, a lot of water. So from that point of view, not bad location.
Just to say is that they're very sensible book proposed tonight, they've already gone down that path David previously.
I'm sorry, Chair, I didn't quite take the first
So I
bit
just
of
want to
it.
know, is it not getting each side could propose off, but is there a side you could propose as an alternative that we sort of wanted to say as well, Yes?
The site that was suggested from us at the Pendle Council was the police station, or the ambulance station as it now is, because there's a precious few police officers there. But I'm not sure whether they actually considered that, but they certainly discounted it as an option. I could go onto the planning portal and look at all the options, but there were a significant number of options that they genuinely have looked at and struck them out for one reason or another.
Yeah, so if it goes ahead, does that mean the allotment doesn't go ahead? No, I incorporate it on this plan.
Oh,
It's there. Just thought
How many more ones can you do?
it takes a 10 by 10 space, so you could probably get 2 more. Okay?
Just cracking the wheel before we start.
You're not too well
Probably just
done,
put in a bit of allotments, I think. If they get permission, they get permission to do it.
The track that they laid out or planned out as their access site for construction, does this any other allotment sites as well as the
Forest.
proposed multi-forest
I
site?
don't need to ask them.
I think, being practical, the best we can hope for is to observe, qualify it, observe that, as David said, that it could be a better looking one, etc., etc. I don't wish to defeat this, but I don't think it would be knocked out. Even if they've appealed against one, we've said that this is their favourite of the two. I think we have to see an appeal as logical. So if we can do anything to recommend mitigation of it, I suggest that being practical, that's the best we can go for.
Laura, did we resolve the dividends and map issues in that corner?
Do you mean this medium-term path? It's still an aim to have.
Because in that,
We don't touch it. Well, it's there. And that's going to stay. Approximately. Yeah.
Any other comments? So David's proposing the items which are listed to feed back to them. Item B is also to delegate authority to consider the terms between the
Are we
council.
going to vote on that bit?
Do you want to do it separate? Yeah? Alright, then, so have we got a seconder for the original comments that David made, or David moved?
Yeah.
Thanks, Chris. Okay. All those in favour? Excellent. So item B is to delegate authority to consider the heads of terms between the town council and PE if the application is approved. Councillor David Britt?
Neither Pendle Council nor the Town Council's landowner have very much choice in this. The legislation as it's written now gives all the cards to telecoms operators. So as we've seen with up on Raynor Road, the car park there, the fact that Pendle Council didn't want them to use part of the car park doesn't carry any weight. Obviously, Pendle Council refused the planning permission up there, but again, that was overturned on appeal because the way that the national planning policy framework is set out, the operators have sorry, I'm going to say Wick hand, but I wanted to stick with Trump hand. They've got all the cards and they can essentially do what they want. So if they came, if they have them, to Barnoldswick Town Council and said, well, we want that pot around for a mass, we could turn around and say, well, we don't want you to use it. But then they use powers that they've got which are similar to compulsory purchase powers, and they say, well, we're going to use it anyway. So I'm not sure that there's any merit in trying to resist their wanting to use a plot of land up at Raymond Road. With all that on, we relied on the planning system, protecting it from the telecoms development. But if this isn't agreed, we don't get planning permission for this, we will go back to Raynor Road and put it on the Raynor Road car park. So the discussion that we've got here is about, do we agree to treat with the telecoms operator in the event that things proceed on this spot around here. And I don't think we've got any choice. We could stick his head in bucket of sand and ignore it, but they will come and do it anyway in due course. So I think we might as well deal with them and hopefully get the best that we can if this goes ahead for the town, the council taxpayers.
Any other comments? It's the very reason why they're on the PlayStation Tower, and that is because it was an easy option for them to go to government with their legislation to put it on, because it's government versus government. And it happens, then no fire service up and down the country had that consultation. We just got told it were happening, and they pretty much can do that because of the policy that's in place. So I agree with what they were saying there. We don't really have a great deal of choice in this other two points that we've made to try and make it more, a little bit more a blend better into the natural habitat, and then delegate authority to determine between the council and the provider if it's approved.
Who need delegated to somebody?
So C is the question, if the council is in agreement, then we basically need two councillors that will sign the documentation on behalf of the council. With all the volunteers, but I'm happy to put my name forward as chair, and then it's over that.
I'll put that forward to that.
So we need to agree the heads of terms. We need someone to delegate authority to, rather than every time the solicitor comes back with something having to call a meeting.
That would be.
Me and somebody else. Two or three, I don't know.
Maybe up or drawing, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Very much.
Any more comments before we move on? No?
I think you need to take the vote.
Oh, sorry.
I think you need to take the vote on the principle.
For the principle.
Yeah.
Do you want to do, should we do it separate?
Yeah.
Okay, so B then to delegate authority, whoever vote on that, those in favour? Okay, and for item C, for the two councillors that will sign the documentation. Right, item 9, green before the allotment site. So consider plans for the new site at Greenfield.
Right, so this has been going on quite a while. So we've got a simplified plan. Did I say to everyone to see a lot? Oh, yeah.
Actually, everything's on the track that we're talking about tonight.
Yeah, it's just a bit of a layout, just so you have an idea of what we're talking about. it more visible to the original budget we had. So this is just a simplified version, just to put out so we can get some quotes through to see if we can get it to come in and budget if it's simplified. Are you happy with that? And it's a different part of the field we're using as well.
Councillor David Wick.
Thank you, Chair. I mean, this is similar to what we've looked at before. Can I be clear about what the area around the EE potential mask site is intended to be? It seems to me that there's some potential plots there.
There could be. I just didn't want. There's gates opening at the front of it, and we've got to have access to it. That's what them two little lines are.
Okay.
I ran them to check what access we needed and whether we were taking that road out that was potentially covering the forest up. And they said that we needed 24/7 access to gates at the front of it.
Right.
This is, well, again, back to
This bit. I assume the compound gates will be there.
Is that during construction or permanently?
Permanently. Potentially for the next 10 years. So what?
What can we access it from the road?
We've got a good plug, but I didn't know where the gates were going, so I was trying to know that at the time when the worst place possible.
All right.
Sorry.
Okay, Chair. So, I mean, to be honest, I mean, that's flexible anyway, because if the mass does go ahead, it could, or we could sort of change, incorporate more in the allotment land if need be. Next question. The plots adjacent to the trackway,
Yeah.
where the hedge is, they're laid out sort of lengthways instead of. Is there a reason for that?
So the drop-off point won't as big.
Okay, all right. Because obviously, I mean, some of that is a passive place anyway.
Yeah.
You'd only have like 2 metres depth. If the adjacent allotment plots are 5 metres away from the hedge,
Yeah.
at the narrowest point of the dropping off point, it could be only about 2 metres.
Possibly about a metre and a half.
Pardon?
What's the path width? You're going to have a metre and a half there, wouldn't you?
Yeah, but say you were tipping manure or wood chip or something like that.
Also then.
I'm thinking in future if whoever drops off piles say they take sand from the beach.
I could be there, would you? I think it'd be there.
You put it at the bottom of the site.
No, you wouldn't. You put it at the top of the site. Have you tried barrelling stuff? You always put your material at a high point and barrel it down, not push it up a hill.
Right, yeah, that's fine. We're going to ask more people around.
Well,
You know, we had this exact same argument last time.
well, I mean, to my mind, that is a place for any material that the allotment holders want. Manure, wood chip, sand, whatever.
But they'd move it straight away, wouldn't they? And that there is 23 metres wide. So they've got the depth, haven't they?
Yeah, but you try backing and trucking.
23 metres. That's like a swimming pool. Is it? Am I measuring that wrong? That says 23 metres.
It's a bit shorter than the square.
If you can't back a truck in there, it's something wrong.
Yeah, but then you've got to tip and move forward, don't you?
I don't know.
There's someone who
I can't reverse the trailer.
yeah, but I'm thinking when the sand goes off the beach, I've had to deal with the truck getting in and out like around the reserve.
I don't think we've ever sent a wagon to a site to drop anything off.
Yeah, we do it regularly, really feel ones.
Sounds still there, so what we're doing it again.
But there you go, you see, it can be everywhere. All I'm saying is we don't want to block the path.
No.
I'm not
Or just have
precious.
another plot then.
Well, I wouldn't drop another plot. You know, I tend to, I'd put it lengthways rather than sideways.
I'm trying to avoid it clashing with the path.
Can't put something on.
Sorry,
I'm trying to make it so it doesn't clash with the path.
clash with the path.
The definitive map path.
Yes.
If we move this down, we lose some of these.
If you put them that way, it brings everything else
You just have to
forward.
put the ones at the bottom.
Yeah.
Not well.
You lose like half of it.
It's what? All right.
If you flip the ones at the top, you just flip the ones at the bottom. You know?
You guys are really, one of those.
I think we don't have any tourism trucks to pick.
No.
That's a long time. I think it's unrealistic. Requirement to us.
How long's a car? 3 meters. What? Woman and rubbish.
So people are just going to drop off there and then they're going to pass the car park and then they're going to say,
But I think these are luckier than any other site because one, we've got a car park other than Greenfield. You've thought on about the brow of the hill and going downwards. I don't know, I think it's fine. No, or the Hardy Avenue, you can't even get the up Hardy way.
And hence, we don't want to cause a problem for the future.
I think the beach came in.
Pardon?
I think the beach came in.
I mean, it has been approved by all the allotments and
Yeah, they're all
all the
there.
orders and some practicalities.
Might get some of these smaller, Julian suggested.
It was just a suggestion because I know I've sort of spoke to a few people or something, you know, and I think we don't really want to give them up, but if they have small ones,
Yeah.
you know.
But they will be like 5 by 8.
Yeah.
And we get an F2 you get.
You get, yeah, yeah.
I've got, again, hold my mouth now.
Chris, do you want, sorry,
Just to say, yeah, could I suggest that if we accept that a big vehicle, a big drop-off vehicle is at some point going to happen, but will not be very often, is there a compromise way that it could drop off entirely at the bottom
Yeah.
and make it X number of car boot loads? Now, I know it's an inconvenience, but if it is a rarity, it's a rare inconvenience. Does that make sense?
Chairman? No, I don't think it does. I mean, how many people have barreled tons of material around this table?
Not many of them are.
Yeah, I mean,
I've taken a barrel load of wood chip from the bottom garden gate, which is all uphill,
Yeah.
to the back at the top. And it's all right, we do it. And you don't do it often.
but you don't make things
Yeah.
difficult for people. You know, your place to drop off is on the brow of the hill. Always banner downhill.
So in terms, yeah, just to clear that, in terms of that, where is the brow of the hill you say? So it's at the top of the hill.
That's where passing places.
Right. So you're pretty much at the top of the
That's
hill.
my reason why in the middle bit is where it's all
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to be clear, are we talking drop-off area, is it?
Can we just have one discussion?
As it is on here, it's 23 metres by 12 metres,
No, 23 by 5.
not by 5. Right, okay, thank you.
But Chair, part of that 5 metres is the passing place.
But how often is a passing place used? If someone were dropping off, what's the likelihood that someone at the same time is going to want a pass?
Unfortunately, we wouldn't have to just back down.
Because this room's 5 metres wide, isn't it?
The passing place is a legal planning requirement. If we do away with the passing place,
No, I don't mean pass, I don't mean do away with it. If a car's dropping off, a car will be able to fit in that gap, won't they?
Behind it.
In the yellow bit. If a wagon was dropping off, they'd have the width of this room by the length of the swimming pool to get in and out.
and then the tip material is fed down. But I'm just trying to defend the passing place because when we got planning permission for that access road, it includes that we shall have a passing place.
Yeah, but I'm not saying not to have the passing place, I'm saying the wagon will be able to get in and out, because to have the passing place is the manoeuvrability spot.
No, but what I started off by saying, why have we turned the allotments round rather than having them end on to
Somebody get
the things? Pardon?
We've got a path, or we get the plots in the middle, plots at the bottom, the path.
Yeah.
We get an extra 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 plots on that top part.
Right.
Considering the extensive waiting list we've got, we can squeeze more plots into the site, let's get more plots into the site.
Well, I can get more plots on site anyway. I mean, question, why have we got a path at both sides of the plots in the middle? So you've got 20 plots at 5 metres and 12 metres.
How do you get from the top one to the middle one otherwise?
Well,
How do you get from the drop-off point to the bottom ones?
well, you have a path through from the drop-off point.
You do.
But I met provision for putting further allotments, perhaps not now, in the future, beyond the 70 plots, 5 metres by 12 metres.
What,
So-
by not having the path that's 120 metres wide, 1.5 metres?
So I put a path along the bottom edge. I do away with that path. I have a path along the bottom edge. So you've got 2 paths, but the second path, the lower path, would be available to access a further line as well.
It would just shuffle them up and then put the path in there. So
I'm not precious, I'm not a designer, I
So
don't know.
if you did develop
This is
this-
well beyond my world.
But if you ever do develop that bit, then you've already got your path in.
Yeah, but how do you get from there to there?
Well, it'll have to be-
You go down here, so you have a path.
You have to link it.
So that's the yellow one there.
Yeah,
So you'd have to go down there and then all the way along here.
Where are we now?
We've worked
You
in the
say you'd have to go
12
down.
metres.
Oh, yeah.
How long ago did we agree to use this site for allotments?
2019.
2019. Been at it for like 6 years and we're none further, because every time we get...
I'm not precious, I'll move that. I'm not bothered. If this gets in moving on, I'll move that.
I got to the point of having 2 accesses to the same plot. The two major lines, if they back up to each other, it gives you the flexibility to have another line in future without doing major or taking something off the plot and putting a path through. And having 3 paths.
So move that middle path to the bottom.
Yeah, and just link it.
Yeah, that's it. So the bit that says 20 plots and 17 plots, back up to each other, put the path underneath the 17 plots, and then we could get further plots in this small like triangle, but we might fit 6 plots in.
So they've already got their access.
Their access is already there, we're just moving from your extra
But
allotment.
we'll have to lose a lot of plot on the 17 plots.
Yeah, one, and yeah, so do something there.
But you can have to find out where that footpath is, that's fine.
That's it.
It's not set on.
We're not doing much we can do about it, just a little bit.
Is that what you mean? We'll send that,
Yeah.
we've got that one, and
Yeah.
still a bit more allotments.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey,
Like that.
we do it tomorrow? Do some measuring?
Just
Can we delegate some consent so that we don't have to start to full council again?
Can I just bring forward a question?
just comment on the material choices. You can get recycled type one, which is about half the price.
I went off the quote that we had when we did your retail design. I went off what materials they used.
Yeah, MLT type one is what it says it can, because it's flashy stuff, it's so nice. But you can get recycled stuff that looks the same, isn't as expensive, is much cheaper. Because if you specify type one without recycling, the price is going to pull back.
I think I need more water taps when I did the original one. I didn't.
David?
Yeah, just on the choice of material for the paths. I put a post on about the path that Rolls-Royce has done, parallel to Brentford, and there were quite a lot of comments, and there was one comment that said, well, why didn't they do it in type 1 MLT, and would then blind it with 10 mil to dust. I think it said 10 mil to dust.
That's little, is that?
So that ends up with a smooth surface. And I'm looking to lower it for the civil engineering expertise.
You could better use in recycled bitmap. You have to be careful since applying a bit rubbish. Recycled bitmap, it is very free draining, so it basically non-useless.
That's what we used on Ben Lane and there was lots of complaints about it. Isn't it?
You've got to roll it, you can't just put it down.
Was it?
They use their new limestone aggregate.
I thought it was a good bit, man.
But they did a proper job because the size of the stone on the base was, it would be, sorry, I can't tell you how big. But we don't need to do that here.
Right, can we delegate, is that what we want to do?
I'll send you a spec for a footpath if you want.
Yeah, perfect.
Well, Chair, could I propose that we delegate authority to the clerk to go out to tender and in consultation with Chairman of the Council, Chairman of Ordnance, Chairman of GP, accept tenders and any other necessary things that might be needed that we haven't thought of at the moment. And if we've got a solicitor saying that we need to have 2 people to sign a contract.
No, don't think so.
But yeah.
I can use them again.
Have we got a second there for that? Yeah. Excellent. So all those in favour? Nice. Good stuff.
To agree the tenders, yeah?
Yeah.
It's moving forward. Sorry.
We'll get there. We'll get there. Okay, item number 10 is correspondence items for information. We don't know a report from the chairman and clerk of the council for items of information correspondence received. Nothing?
I know. This, we have gone through this.
Well, it's a bit,
Sorry.
sorry, this was came from the allotment committee meeting and discussion about how we could progress or accelerate conclusion of that side, which is what we're doing now. There was just a discussion about how to prepare the ground
Okay.
and potentially use of landscape weed killer to kill pheasant. So I think Jill and I and others were a bit concerned about these landscapes, especially for food growing. Absolutely understand it's a challenge for curbside weed control. The council still allowing that sort of struggling with that one. I think it's food growing. I personally want to understand it speaks very landscapes. I know it's got quite a short just what other alternatives. So between us, we reached out to a lot of organisations, National Allotment Society, Organic, Side Association, a few others. This was just one that came back, just to say, we're preparing new ground, and talking to a few allotment holders. A lot of people now are trying to grow organically, they're growing the food because they're trying to avoid the chemicals that might be coming through the food chain. And it was just alternative uses, alternative way to prepare it. It is pasture land, so it's not massively weedy. There will be docks and things in there that, you know, I'd rather say would get out, with a bit of work. A lot of people now just cover and suppress, maybe with cardboard and then that wood chip on, which can make a little bit of the dump truck to come along with. So it was just to say that, could we just, one option that they propose is to plough the land, so you bury the root seed and then get a lot of holders on it straight away to start working bits of the plot. And that's their discretion. But I think it's just to say, should we plough it before we do all this work? Or should we encourage people to cover and suppress and mulch, but just please not use the last day? So that was the only comment. So that was just a supporting document on ideas.
Well,
Things may have advanced since last discussed, but we did originally plan to go to there with the area
I thought we were going to,
before we.
it was meant to be spring and then go 30, but that was a long time ago, I can tell you.
I don't think we were down to spray out. Yeah, because you rotate the entire field and then you put in the fencings with a 360 tracks. What goes on, wouldn't you? So as long as you get the tenants on straight away and they cover the mulch, then it should be a problem.
Sounds good.
any other comments? Very quick.
I wouldn't go to there. Because I wouldn't plough it, I wouldn't go to there because I think you just, in practice, people who move on to allotments aren't, sort of instantly cultivating the land, and I think you end up with a lot of weeds that then take more and more difficult. And if you've got stuff, and I don't think we have got a boundary, but if we chop the boundary on couch grass, we chop the roots of couch grass up, all we do is creating more couch grass. I think that's the more likely thing here. So we should be lifting the soil, the turf, where we put in the paths in. So that soil and that turf needs to go somewhere. And I would suggest that that's put upside down in the adjacent allotment plots, because that would do as an initial compost thing for the allotment holders. But I'm an advocate of no dig, and that requires covering the ground, cardboard and then compost on top is the sort of classic no dig method of doing it. But I think we've got to accept that it's quite an undertaking to move it from a field that has been pasture for time immemorial to a growing medium for allotments, and it isn't easy.
Has there been any discussion with the contractors about when it's water?
I spoke to the equivalent of Phil Riley from Hindburn, just because he was in my house, and he said he wouldn't plough it or rotate it. He says because if you've got thistles or whatever in that field and he lives near it, he lives somewhere around there, he said all you can do is create 6 out of every one you've got.
Yeah.
He said he wouldn't import soil just because potentially then you're bringing in a weed or something like whatever the person you said, saying it.
So you
say there's no alternative, leave it draw as it is, and let the individual holders do what they want.
Yeah, and that's all the suggestions that come from me. It's just take it a stage at a time, cover it, mulch it, and just let it have all the plastic on there, which is, so, I think we're all really not straight. I think that's the main point of bringing this up, so.
Individual allotment owners not just do that. Would the individual allotment owners not just do that?
Cover it up.
Right.
Doesn't matter do that, but then it's just their own little bit of spraying, isn't it? And I don't.
That's a different sort of
That's a
conversation.
different thing, isn't it? It's spray the whole time, which was real estate.
Yes, yeah.
Is what we're trying to avoid, really.
David?
Well, I'm just conscious because we've had loads of people move on to allotment plots and they can't cope with them. So, you know, Joe can probably quote you how many people get a plot and then 6 months later they're off the plot because they're not able to cultivate it. So, you know, I don't think it's easy, and I mean, there's lots of helpful advice here, but yeah, people may well think that, you know, spraying some herbicide is the way to deal with it, and I don't think there's anything to stop them from doing that if they want to do it.
I guess the conversation is on the whole of we are developing it rather than what the individual plot holders are going to do, aren't they? We can't really point in the right direction, I guess, but it's their choice ultimately, isn't it?
Unless the actual sort of agreement itself has changed, that's not the topic. It's the whole plan bit, isn't it?
Is this, sorry Chris, is this potentially an item that we could link into the other things for the allotment for the 3 nominated people to discuss before we get contractors in, or when they come in, see what they say? If they say there's no issue, they can just crack on with it without us doing anything, then we divide the allotments up into the sides and put the paths in, and whoever gets an allotment decides how they do it, don't they?
It does give people the option to take the glyphosate route without impacting on all the others around them. So they can still do it, but only on their own bit, as a choice, whatever their belief is. So
It doesn't say you can't in the agreement.
No. I think it'd be very difficult to police.
David, sorry, come back to that.
Well, I mean, one thing that we could do before moving on, you know, getting a contractor, putting the passing in the line, is seeing whether we could get it mown. I noticed when I went to have a look at the mass site that there was quite a growth of grass. I think it isn't being eaten off at the moment. So, pardon?
It's goats. Goats.
Have we got goats?
Don't forget some.
Well, we could get goats to be all over the place, wouldn't we? You'd have to put a goat-proof and rabbit-proof fence in there. But, I mean, Phil Robinson had some animals in there. So, you know, would it get eaten off? Or you know, if it would mow, I'm not sure really that it will not, because it's very tussocky. Whereas at mow, we could get rid of what there is, and then there's a short sward that people got to deal with rather than big tussocks of grass.
My neighbours have got them, they're called Tom, Dick and Harry. I think that can't be neighbours.
Lola, sorry.
Thank you, Chair. I guess if we're wanting to promote one sort of thing over another, I think the easiest thing is providing the mulch from the get-go, just for that initial hot turnover. That gives people the incentive to just do it the easy way, the mulch is over there, they don't need to buy whatever stuff from elsewhere. So send that back.
Also, it's like ours, well.
David?
Chairman, where would you get the mulch from? It's a bit
In that wagon, that's not going to be very practical, right?
Well, I don't know, you might be able to buy industrial quantities of mulch. I mean, sterilised mushroom compost would be good. That'd do the trick.
Can we just get hats in, just so we can get started? I don't think this was much.
It would be nice to kind of encourage people to kind of go down this road because, it's going to be hard. We're starting out. Here's some advice, as we're saying on the email.
Yeah.
There's lots of people who can link them up with. There's lots of people on social media doing, like you say, shelf down and the whole thing, and networking packers and all those. So, we've just got in touch with the community that will support you.
As long as we know that that's what we're taking on.
That's a big thing.
And then does the 30-day thing change? Because that's the issue that someone's got, that they're taking a plot on that's covered in grass, and it's taking them forever to get under control.
But the 5 to 12 metres, they're not monster size.
The same as Broomfield, aren't they, in here?
Really, 12 is not. So, Chris?
Could I ask what possible start dates we have in mind and how much each option might impact on it? Because, as we all agree, this has taken a long, long time. And would any of these options risk us having this ready for handover in New Year?
And down to contract stuff with it, yeah, oh, into it.
Yeah, it's what we need 3 quarters, putting down, side one set, we can get going. It's possible. It depends, we're doing that much discussing, but still be in.
Would it affect the price if we put the time scale in the invitation?
It's like telling the builder you want it done in 6 weeks and then charge it double an hour because you're pushing other people to come side, you know, like.
Well, are we presuming that we're going to be going by New Year, then the handover in New Year?
See what we can do. I hope so, yeah. All we're wanting is, when you walk pulling over, paths putting in, and the front line, and the rear line, and then the rest of it is stakes and string. Away you go.
You can provide as much as you want, can't we? You can provide as much mulch as you want or as much cargo as you want. It's trying to get this thing one off the ground to make a budget.
Yeah. That's important, isn't it, getting it going? As is, the way we treat the land, but I think if we get it up and running, once we've had a discussion with the contractor and we get some prices, we know what we need to do for them to start. And it gives us an idea. We might just sit here guessing and we might not have to do anything. If we could get it mown or cut in some way, shape or form, I don't know, until we speak to contractors, really, we're just guessing, right?
Yeah, that's just.
That's one of them, isn't it?
Yeah. So,
Yeah, that's December.
yeah, at least the road, isn't it? We need to get it boxed up. So what's the proposal then on the table, do you think?
I think you've got to move on to another issue.
Yeah.
Because we've stuck with this.
Yeah,
We've sort of been I think if we can cut and remove the grass and everything before, that would be good.
I think it'd be better to do before we got a contractor out because it's one of them ones that would be out us to take you in favour of decorating. Do you know what I mean? It make it look better, it looks like it's an easier job.
Could we, I know the point's been raised and it's a good point, it doesn't affect any other time. Could we waive the 30-day rule for first?
No.
It's not for this meeting to decide, is it?
No.
Sorry?
30-day rule, you're getting a lot of, like, you get 30 days to get going with it, you haven't got going after 30 days, serve notice.
If it's
Unless there's extenuating circumstances.
If it's 1st of January when the student gets a plot, they're all they can do. I mean, you can't go that outside the going season.
We don't, it's I'm not getting summer.
It depends on the plot, isn't it? I mean,
You can
no,
tell
we've
people
got it
in
in
the south
January,
how
it was a
to
mess,
expect
and
stuff
it's
like that.
You get beds turned over and come home until the time to plan.
You know, it's not so much to the team.
Yeah, you can tell, we take photos and some plots you look at and one place in summer, a wheelbarrow still in the same spot.
I think you just got to take weight out of it.
You know, Callum really annoyed me today by the office staff, so it's a bit
No, not the office, I'm not. Still a week. Holding decision fine.
So, we're proposing to bring this out in and
with the package, yes.
And that's all we're doing right now.
Yeah.
We're going to be outstanding.
Yeah,
We're
and then
aiming to get
As soon as.
people on next start next week.
we'll have tenders come in from Sarah to David, from me to Joe. We'll look at those and pick one. Then we'll make it all.
Sounds good.
Happy with that?
Delighted, absolutely delighted. Because this is becoming a bit of my life. Not really, I did actually try doing that in 32, longer than I probably should have done. I did actually do it on the day.
What was that doing?
I found the thing to measure things, but Laura wants to show me.
Okay, so are we happy to bring that meeting to a close and then we can start with the GP?
Yeah.
If everyone's happy with that?
Yeah.
I'll vacate the chair and let you.
Kind of.
3 minutes past. I've warmed that one day. Right, if there's anybody that's not on GP and they want to
We're in.
duck out, they can, Joe says you're all on GP. You stuck with it.
She's not out.
Oh, she won.
No.
No, I mean, no.
No, she's obviously Dave put on the group, he's on the way, Susan Paul, hits, and Joe's not out.
Okay, thank you very much for coming on to this general purposes meeting. There's not a fantastically long agenda to waive financial regulations to place the work with Gladstone Gardens, subject to value for money. But we tend not to put the prices up, so as long as it's in conformity with previous years, that should be okay. Is there anything else in terms of that winter planting schedule? The planting for the next year, the next financial year, is in the next financial year, so I'm not sure that this committee's got any ability to decide things for the next financial year. It depends on having the... Pardon? No, I'm thinking we can only work within this annual budget, so we can't commit stuff until the town council's gives us a budget to get
No, but we need to put the order in before the end of the year.
for the hanging baskets.
Yeah.
And in that case, we could do that as well then. Yeah. So hanging
Because
baskets.
to grow them, that's why we have to put the order in.
Yeah. So, I mean, we've got circa 200 containers, if I can say them, some of what we call planters, others hanging baskets, things like that. Again, are we content to go with what we've currently got. There's an issue, Joe, you flagged up, we're a bit light in some places, aren't we?
Yeah, but we've also got some pigeons living in something.
No, but I meant there's some places where we should have some baskets and we haven't got any baskets.
There aren't any on
to put them.
HSBC because the staff were up, but we also didn't have any to put there. So there's some extra ones down here that were there before for the refurbishment. So those must be there. We're the right number to start off with, we just have enough.
Right.
And the Greyhound didn't get any but the new ones.
Say again.
The Greyhound didn't get any but the new ones.
No, I know. Does the town council want to get some more of the small hanging baskets?
I suppose we do.
Okay.
How many?
Was it seconded?
Yeah.
Typically the seconded. 10? I don't know.
We're going to plan 10, we've got 10 spots going.
How many slots do you think you need?
I think probably 4 or 6. Just 4 new ones on over.
Any stairs.
So we'll go with you for it then.
I mean, there's some on what used to be trophy shop.
They've been taken down in
I
shop,
know.
and every time we drive past them, they're up there watering them.
Yeah. But it's a very poor place for them because it's north facing and the trees there as well, so they don't thrive, so we could actually, we could take them away.
If you want HSBC.
Yeah, in which case, you know,
Right.
we're down to penny numbers. So, well, subject to having a check round and
Yeah.
where we think, well, we could put another one in there or whatever.
Because we don't need these 2 on the front steps, because we have 2 of them spare every single year.
But they're the pole
I know, but we
planters,
could
aren't
not have them planted and have 2 hanging baskets planted, so the cost is,
they? Yeah,
it should be the same. Because I worry every day when I come into them smash up one.
yeah,
Even though they look nice.
they do.
Eh?
Okay, well, could I suggest that we give authority for Joe to get a further half dozen, subject to them being necessary?
Yeah.
Yeah? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. And the second bit, sorry, is recommending to the council that we go with Gladstone Gardens because of the quality of the work, etc., and waive standing orders, you know, at that point.
Is it possible to go with three?
I don't know.
I think they're on reduced fees.
Reduced feet. Is it possible to push them?
Well, if the peat free is anything like the rubbish that I've been getting, I think they turn around and say, get your own basket somewhere else. Because honestly, it's very, very poor. Sorry, Angela, I'm not
We
picking
could
it.
use it in years in time.
Okay.
Put them in purpose, like set that up.
Could I suggest that we have a, well, I mean, the legislation was that it was all going to be peat free, but they relaxed the legislation.
It's just a catch up, I appreciate that. It's just a nice thing
The mix that they were using a couple of years ago was reduced peat, and they were moving towards a peat free. And at that point, they did have some reasonable peat free alternatives for retail use, not commercial use.
Yeah.
So we can ask the question.
It'd be just nice to ask a question, thank you. We always fix it on this agenda, I think, where we can have like, it's just going off the independence for everybody else. So, obviously,
Yeah.
institution places for it.
Yeah. But we'll see what they say. Okay. Anything further on that bit? No? Okay. Moving on to the events programme. there's one,
Just bullet the thing.
sorry,
Just the thing about dropping princesses.
yes. So at the last council meeting, I
Yes.
think it was, we decided that the events programme, the one at the end of March would be Pirates and Princesses, and the team in the office recommended that we drop Princesses. We think we've enough with Pirates.
We just thought, you know, if you're trying to do like a trail or something, to have two completely different themes makes it quite difficult, whereas if we just go with one all out, we can just have a town full of pirates.
That's the way about all of it. That's a very lot of things, and why can't we go to the private?
And they can.
Yes, they can, and they are. And there were significant female pirates.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's not like you...
It'll just make it a bit more simple. We're not trying to please everybody. Just go down one.
That could be clearer on the graphics.
And girl pirate and boy pirate.
Yes,
And the superhero kit is.
okay.
Yeah.
So, can we make a decision? Are we content to... it's just pirates? Well, no, not just pirates, to get the drift. Yeah, we're happy with that one.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Now, I'm not aware that there are any other decisions to be made. I've got a request. You recall that we agreed to Wax and Taps organising music on the town square, and I mean that was quite successful, although there was some downside to it. I've got a request for Electric Moonlight to perform in September, mid-September on the town square. So I said I'd ask colleagues about that. I'd have to look it up. It's a bit since he asked.
We need to know that really. Date and time is the feedback after the latest one, the windows was not good.
Well, there was complaints about the rubbish.
Oh my God.
How late it went.
Sorry, how?
The noise and the time it went on to.
The electric moonlight on.
Electric Moonlight, the headline at Barnoldswick Square.
This is the band's.
James Parkinson.
Oh, right, okay, I do know that. I like it. Sorry.
Howard, yeah. I mean, they're all right.
Is it direct from there?
Pardon?
Is it direct from there?
No, it's from Matt Taylor, which I can't find. Matthew Taylor. Blank.
Sorry, can I look in? What were the issues with last one that you just mentioned?
There was complaints about obviously all the rubbish that was left around town, the noise and the time that the band went on to.
And there was complaints regarding youths, the police determined that it was actually
Very immediate.
yes.
Sorry, say again. Yeah, I can't hear you through me.
There was difficulties with youths reported as well. And there was a police presence.
Yes, it was Matt Taylor who called the police
Yeah,
because they were messing about on this back street.
yeah.
So the police came. The person who was taken home was somebody who had been working with Matt
Yes.
in the
In the
kitchen.
the campaign thing that I think was the so I think people were a little bit upset that these
opportunities have been thrown in the town space. Who's the biggest
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure that that is something that should influence our decision. You know, if individuals act in an appropriate way, that's individuals acting in an appropriate way. It doesn't take a special occasion for them to act inappropriately.
Yeah, take it away from the town.
Part of the benefit of having activities and an adult presence on the square is that it actually suppresses the unwelcome antisocial activities that would otherwise take place. If you've got an empty square, that then tends to cause more problems than are created by having people in it. Angela?
Yeah, but we can do something about the noise, the time it finishes.
You'll have to direct at me, else I won't be able to hear you.
Do something about the noise, the time it finishes, and something about rubbish. If we can help to manage those situations, what it's not to use, but there are things that are also offending that we couldn't manage.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah. We can say, right, well, we want it to finish a particular time. In terms of the rubbish, there have been discussions with Wax and Taps about having a skip provided so that the rubbish can go into a skip. In the meantime, and during the beach, we have provided 6 wheel bins, and the waste is being managed by ourselves and Liam, to sort of keep on top of that. There is a request from Wax and Taps as to whether there is a possibility of the businesses around the square jointly and severally managing the waste that arises from the activities. But I think that would need to be something that we perhaps convened and coordinated, because I can't see them agreeing otherwise. Well, they might not agree anyway, but yeah.
When we put an event on the square, we manage the waste afterwards. If Wax and Taps are putting an event on the square, they should manage the rubbish afterwards.
Well, I think
Simple thing, it's part of organising the event, isn't it?
Well, I think when I come up and see people putting away, there's Phil from Jack's who will put some tables and chairs away, and then I see it's Wax and Taps who are doing it, and I've seen them cleaning up as well, but Wax and Taps will turn around and say, well, why are we picking all these chip papers up? You know, that I think Wax and Taps would like to see some equity from all the businesses around.
Is that what you're supporting it, or if the event is actually Wax and Taps? Because the on the normal weekend, we don't get complaints, do we?
No. The rubbish and the children aside, it's the main things, obviously, the time it's going on to and the noise. If someone directs these complaints in a certain direction, how long is it till our licence is in jeopardy because of it? It's our licence in that square.
It is. And I'm the designated premises supervisor.
So,
And I mean, my limit has been 9 o'clock, and as to noise levels, I've asked that acts are acoustic rather than, when I say acoustic, they haven't got drums, basically, because drums, you can't legislate for them to noisy. So, I mean, I think there's ways of managing it, but coming back to this thing about, well, it's Wax and Taps, the square is full of people who are frequenting Hickeys and Friends, Wax and Taps, Jackies. You know, it's the whole gamut of people, businesses that are benefiting from the activities.
They're also benefiting when there isn't activities on and there isn't a mess. So I guarantee if this weather carries on Friday, that's where we'll be packed and we won't be messy at the end of the night like it was after the last event, Wax and Taps.
But that largely will be because Molly is out there picking the rubbish up. And I've seen her doing it. You know, it's not a case of the rubbish magically disappears. And Joe went round this evening, didn't he? After the beach. And what was it?
Commodity.
Pardon?
The place was like a commodity.
Like accommodative. So, you know, when we finish this meeting, we'll all pop round to the
Well,
square
that's us.
and tidy it up.
So, no, because I did go and tidy it up. But
Yeah.
the reason the mess was there was the beach. So we invited the mess. So is the responsibility on the person who's inviting the people to the square, and that isn't the square as a whole. That isn't every business, is it? Although every business is creating rubbish.
Surely it's on the process what things in there.
Tom, after last event, I came back and didn't get my lunch. That's how many people accosted me around town, including people who work for Henry.
Who was the director?
No, Henry.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. I mean, I think the rubbish issue needs to be cracked. And I think that can be cracked, but it needs a joint effort. You know, it's not down to one business to deal with the rubbish of 6 businesses.
I don't feel like that's what us to spearhead.
Well, no, it isn't, but if we don't do it, nobody else is going to do it, Callum.
We don't have a bid that we're doing on them, and that's something we should do, really, isn't it?
Business Improvement District.
Businesses pay in, and they provide services that benefit other businesses. It's exactly for this kind of situation, but we don't have any animals that can not going to get one. So we are de facto that organisation, and we're seen as that by the public, aren't we?
So what if only 4 out of 6 will agree to it?
Exactly. But the starting point is having a discussion about it. So I'm still trying to find the.
What, and then do we pay for it and then have to get the money off them?
No, we don't want to go anywhere near doing that, do we?
Well, then someone's going to have to take responsibility for ordering and paying
Yeah,
the
someone's going to have to foot the bill and then recoup the costs from
Yeah, that's up to them.
businesses, and that all takes is 1 of the 6 go, no.
Yeah, I think as the events have got a little bit more pace now, I think there's a need for us as a council to speak with representatives of town that are the business owners and explain where we are with it and where we'd like to see them as a group go with it and see if there's anything comes out of it. You know, the whole thing around the rubbish, the tidying up and everything is, if it was raining and all the punters were inside there, but they would clean the bubble, each of them,
Yeah.
clean their own
Yeah.
premises up.
Yeah.
So it's only fair that if we allow them to come out onto the square, they're all stood there, that between them, clean the square up, or at least make it so that it's not any harder for the cleaners to go in on a Monday morning as it normally will be on a weekend. You know, we're not expecting them to sweep it, wash it down, and we just want them to remove all their items that are just from their own premises. And I think because I think some of the owners will be happy just to sit back and let us come forward and do things because everyone will benefit from it. But all of them have to take responsibility for it. And the rubbish is the first thing on the item that we can take out. I think in terms of dates and times, that's easy, that's within our gift, isn't it, to say we don't want it going on past 9 o'clock, or we don't want it on this date because it catches with X. The rubbish has to be a joint consultation.
I think actual acoustics better as well, rather than amplify something like that, acoustic duos, solo amps.
You can't do it just somebody strumming a guitar. Well, because you won't be able to hear it on the square. You'd hear it. I mean, I can argue what people are saying in this room, from one end to other. You've got to have some amplification. I'm desperately trying to find the date that's suggested, but I'm not finding it at all, sorry.
20th September, 13th September, 6th September.
One of them. We might have been a Sunday.
Well, unless we can get in
Put 'em out on a Friday.
worse, because Stickers and Friends are extending, and there's another one, Jack's is extending, and there's another one on that used to be boring.
Well, when you say it's going to get worse, Colin, I mean, I think you've got to balance off the benefits of having a lively evening economy in the town with the downside of, there's some mess. But, there are benefits to this. It's not all downside. And if we didn't have a series of retail properties being converted into bars, we'd ultimately have loads of empty shops around the town centre. We've got to accept that the nature of the town is changing, the nature of the town centre is changing. Across the country, retail is, on the downward spiral, and leisure pursuits are coming up. So we can help facilitate that and actually make Barnoldswick an attractive place for people to come. Or we could say, oh, we're not having any of that, and we then, sort of risk the decline in that evening economy and a decline in the town centre overall. Angela?
I think what he's saying would be really sensible idea, if that's what's happening, why don't we just gather the business owners and ask them what their solution might be. I mean, I don't know much about the bid that you just mentioned, but it sounds like everybody puts into a pot. If you don't put into a pot, then you're a bishop. There must be some solution that can come out of it. I think what we said,
Yeah.
putting the next step forward.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm afraid I just can't find these messages to give you an exact date, but it is in September, and it's sometime after the static bike ride challenge. So I'm saying mid-September. That's the sixth, but it's not that. It's not as immediate as that.
It's £19
Anyway, so in amongst there, I think there were proposals to convene a meeting of the relevant businesses to discuss waste management. Is that put in a sentence? Yeah.
Is there anything else you can add to it, or is that just, whilst you've got them together?
Well, there's an issue that's going to come up quite soon about the pavement licences, and there's a question mark. Pendle Council will be introducing the policy on pavement licences, which they're required to do by law, but pavement licences only cover the highway. So there have pavement licences been granted previously for on the town square itself. Now there's a whole can of worms in terms of how that is managed. So that is another aspect to it, and what furniture, where is it stored, this and that and the other. But as a town council, we're partly responsible for some elements of that as well. Okay.
Can we put some,
Yeah.
do you want to put something about the time then? The time it goes on to?
9 o'clock seems reasonable to me. And what was agreed previously was that they shouldn't have like the full drum kit, so it's acoustic in the sense of it's into full band.
No, I would say no because of,
Non-mod?
because of
And you've got tap on your guitar. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that sort of like it's an accepted norm. But I mean, the Three Amigos. Yeah, but when I mentioned it to you, you said, "Oh, they're all right."
Yeah, but I didn't. I watched them watch people's videos and I was wow, it was loud, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean,
Maybe it doesn't sound as loud in the ground.
pardon?
Maybe it doesn't sound as loud in the ground.
Right.
Chair, I don't think it was,
Leanne?
Chair, I don't think it was necessarily the instruments were loud. I think it was the singer was very loud.
The singer was really
The
loud.
singer was very loud. So I think the volume was just loud, that's all.
Okay.
But the town enjoyed it immensely. You can see from the videos the town enjoyed it, and I agree with Angela. I think for us not to allow these events to go on would be a disappointment to the town. I think we get more complaints about the town. What are we involved for sort of thing?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
I think part of the problem there were two on the same weekend, I think, or on the bands.
Consecutive weekends.
I think it was good weather, wasn't it? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, subject to sort of time and keeping the volume down to an acceptable, acceptable's what's acceptable to one person is acceptable to another, but words to that effect. Yeah. Okay.
The meeting, who would like to be present?
Well, I'll chair it. I mean,
Invaluable.
well, I mean, there doesn't have to be a cast of thousands.
No, I think it makes it all.
Okay. Anything further on that?
Which businesses?
Well,
I think we need to invite everybody that
generates.
essentially could contribute to it or benefit from it. It's an afternoon event. If things were open and whatever, then it is to include the news.
anywhere open after 5.
The pubs, the chippy, town, Manly. That's like it.
Don't trust Manly. Right, anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it probably is some of the daytime businesses as well, because if you're talking about putting a provision in place that will take the business waste, then that includes market bikes.
I think you are opening a right kind of.
Well, yeah, but I think it needs to be inclusive rather than exclusive.
But if you're saying business waste and going there, and you've got a business that has a 12, 18 litre bin in the backyard that they empty every week,
Well,
are they going to get rid of that and then put in the one in square and it's going to be just full?
I think
Or
we
is
have
it
to
for
work through those
punters
issues.
waste?
I think it's punters' waste, but if you look at what's in the bins and as somebody's empty bins, you tend to get stuff that is from the chippy, from Barnoldswick, from Victoria's, from Cafe on the Square.
I think it would be hard to be selected. It would. It's better to be got that,
I think we invite whoever, but I think the proposal is for them to go and sort it before.
Yeah.
Not for us to sort that problem, we don't have to who's paying for what and how to do it. Come back after with a solution that will remedy the waste issue that we've had after events on the transport.
Yeah,
Not physically.
yeah. Okay, I'm not quite sure what Colin's hand gestures are about. Were you wanting to speak, Alan? Okay. Right, anything further on events? Just a reminder, we have the beach coming to an end on the 29th of August. It's the 29th, isn't it? And any for assistance with sweeping up the residue and getting it all ship shape, very much appreciated. That's a Friday evening.
Sorry, because I were running next away with before.
Okay. Right.
I'm like, can you bring your tray on this day?
Item 8. So Joe did inform us that the town crier had resigned, and we said, well, we'll
Just into
consider
the road,
it. I
that's
think
fine.
we're going to Australian. So questions are, do we want to have a town crier? And if so, what arrangements are we going to make? Colin?
I know they did with the soundwave.
No. The post, I think I was instrumental in getting it created, and Kevin Griffiths occupied it, and then he went down to the southwest, and we had a vacancy, and the current incumbent filled the position. So I've forgotten how long we've had a town crier. I mean, you know, is it worth having one? You know, what benefit does it give to the town? I'm throwing this out, really. Don't all shout at once. I don't know. I mean, Eliza was European champion. You know, sort of promoted the town on a wider footprint. But
Sorry, I meant local.
yeah.
Because the town crowd members was to send an event out to last year. Because they've not advertised it.
Yeah. But we hadn't done the advertising to get it. No. Yeah.
What was it?
The budget line. Oh, yeah, the budget line.
Yeah, it's in the papers at the
Is it
other
14 a year?
How much?
Is it 1400 a year?
Was that expensive?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an honorarium twice a year, which was like cleaning a cloak. And then attending another event.
£1,000. No.
Why do we not do it for a day and see if there's any feedback?
Well,
Put some feelers out
I
there.
suppose the other thing is to advertise it.
Yeah, put some
Well,
feelers out there advertising.
yeah, but do we make a decision whether we want to continue with it? I mean, you know,
Yeah,
I-
I'll be well.
I don't think there's much value to it then. Chris, no, yeah.
If we advertise it, would the sponsors make a decision for us?
That's not. They've got a vested interest, haven't they? It's not like asking the public.
Well, no, if 10 people come forward, or if no one comes forward, no one's interested.
Yeah, but then what if you turn around and say, well, only one person are interested, which means we don't do it?
I mean, I think in both Kevin's case and Eliza's case, I think I tapped him on the shoulder and asked them whether they wanted to do it. So, yeah.
I think the town's moved on a little bit, hasn't it? In terms of what we want to see on there. When there was nothing, I guess it was something. It's hard though, isn't it? Because if you look at people out there who asking where they are,
Jim.
Yeah, that's it. Jim, one.
I don't know, I mean, like, I think it's maybe an option, isn't it, just to go about it and see what that attracts. And if we get, you know, heads of people right at the door at the next town council meeting, or 12 months time, where's our town cried, then we'll be illustrating it, but if it's not a necessity, then we don't think it's really having a massive amount of value in that way. Maybe it's time just to give it a break.
I mean, I wouldn't have suggested that we did away with the post with somebody in it, but seeing as how it's been vacated, yeah. Is that a proposal then?
Yeah, I'm up to move that.
Okay, so it's moved that, well, we thank Elijah very much, and, Lord
22 years.
accolades. 22 years has she done it?
Yeah.
I would mark the facts with something.
Well, we can't we'll discuss that outside the meeting. But we don't advertise the post and we leave it vacant. Yeah, okay. Can I say those in favour, please show? Thank you very much, that's carried. And the final item on the agenda, the plot on Albert Road. And Joe said, well, I didn't need to put this on the agenda, but...
Well, you could just have it fixed.
So then?
You should have just got it fixed.
Well, right, but yeah, but it might be not an insignificant sum of money, might it? So, right. So the clock on Albert Road, it's showing the wrong time on one side, and there aren't any lights in the middle of it. It should be lit. It should be an illuminated clock, and we ought to get that fixed. Now, the last time we wanted to repair any clocks, it took us 12 months. No, it took us about 3 years.
He honestly, I could probably tell you his phone number.
Yeah.
Has anyone noticed that phone to his clock's fixed?
Yeah. When I went to pick the clock up, it was in his front room. You know, the clock on the top of the clock tower there. Literally in his front room. We had to get it out of his house. And he had a shed where he did his clock repairs, but it was too big to go in his shed, so it was in his front room.
I think his wife had divorced him in between him taking it and him bringing it back to us. And then he told me he'd taken on another business, he bought another business out, and I asked him if he thought that was a wise thing, bearing in mind he couldn't want to be what it looks it was.
All I'm asking for
Wrong time on
is
one side, let's get it fixed.
authority for Joe to get it repaired, illuminated, and that.
Yeah.
You have all necessary
Thank you very
repairs
much.
made.
Lola, could you just check to see whether there are any questions, please? I hope the sounds work.
Okay, that was last time, wasn't it?
Yeah. So there'll be a comment there. I can't hear you, it sounds not
Never
working. No, nothing. Very good.
3 quiet people watching away.
Three people.
Hi Brian.
Yeah, hi Brian. Can we thank you very much for watching the meeting? Thank you. Can I thank everybody very much for coming on? Declare the meeting closed and wish you safe journey slow. Thank you.
Thank you. Have if John Keaton writes a piece about weed